Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's video, let's take an up-close and personal, in-depth look with the all-new 2015 Subaru WRX STI. This is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the STI. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, go over the performance data, take it on a quick drive, and show you many of the unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior. I'd like to thank Cosmo Motors, located in Hickory, North Carolina, for providing the STI featured in today's in-depth review. For more information on their dealership, including exotic and special inventory, please feel free to check out their website provided in the description box below.
And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start it up, let it run.
This example is finished in crystal white pearl and features the standard combination of red and black leather interior with faux suede across the middle of the seats and door panels, not to mention red accent stitching found throughout. The 2015 STI's steering is delivered through a quick ratio version of the WRX's hydraulic power rack and pinion setup. Regardless, they all react faster than the previous model, but the STI delivers the most immediate and direct response thanks to a 13:1 ratio and 2.5 turns to lock. In comparison, the WRX has a 14.5:1 ratio and takes 2.8 turns to lock. On my brief drive, feedback was excellent. It's a lot of fun to toss around and always feels agile and ready to go, as if it's preemptively waiting for your next move. I'm sure much of that owes its thanks to the stiffer platform, but we'll talk more on that later. A 3-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel comes standard, featuring a sporty flat-bottom design for 2015. It looks and feels high quality, not to mention more aggressive and dynamic compared to its predecessor. To either side, you'll find perforations, big bolsters at 10 and 2, red accent stitching, STI logo with polished trim in the bottom spoke, and easy access to your multifunction controls. Unlike the WRX, which is now available in both 6-speed manual and CVT automatic forms, the STI continues to be only offered with a specially tuned 6-speed manual, benefiting from lower noise, vibrations, and easier shifting effort for 2015. A short throw kit is even available or standard with the earlier launch editions. The gearbox is tight and precise, the clutch isn't too heavy and actually feels lighter than before. It's complemented by a leather shift knob and boot with red detailing. Placing it into reverse activates a standard backup camera in the upper LCD monitor.
So let's go ahead and flip on the LED headlamps, fog lamps, and the hazards. The driver's side window is fully automatic. And we'll go ahead and check out the exterior.
The Subaru WRX STI is all new for 2015, featuring a longer wheelbase, improved interior room, build quality, a new chassis, and more dynamic road manners. Like before, the WRX features a unique wide-body look to distinguish itself from the Impreza. The only two carryover components include the roof and trunk lid. The STI, which is now available only as a sedan, takes things a bit further than the WRX by adding a large spoiler out back for added downforce. Other than unique wheels and a slightly altered front clip, the styling is largely the same between the two. Where the differences come into play are the uprated brakes, suspension tuning, enhancements to the all-wheel drive system, and a more powerful engine. Despite an arguably more subdued look compared to previous generations, I've grown to become quite a fan of the redesign. It still gives off an aggressive rally-inspired vibe, but now it's sleeker, looking more refined and mature than before. The signature hood, which carries a functional scoop to supply fresh air to the intercooler, is now made from aluminum for less weight over the front wheels. The scoop even sits a bit lower to allow for better forward visibility. A 1-inch longer wheelbase compared to its predecessor helps provide a roomier cabin along with an overall length increase of 7.1 inches. Width and height remain the same. The windshield now features a steeper rake than before with slimmer A-pillars. The bottom edges of the A-pillars sit about 8 inches further forward, making room for the addition of small quarter windows. All of this plus a lower dashboard height also helps improve visibility. The body uses more high-tensile steel for added strength and also limiting weight gain to a mere 2 pounds over last year's offering. The fenders, which incorporate mesh vents to alleviate wheel well air pressure, doors, quarters, bumpers, LED headlamps, and LED taillamps are also all new. Specifically with the slimmer headlamps, Subaru actually claims they meant to emulate a Raptor stare. Pretty cool stuff. Coefficient of drag has been reduced to just 0.33. The Subaru Intelligent Drive, or SI Drive powertrain management system, allows the driver to select between 3 different modes to alter throttle response: Intelligent, Sport, and Sport Sharp. Controlled through a rotary dial in the console, Intelligent is the more relaxed setting that's best suited for day-to-day commuting. Sport quickens the throttle response for livelier acceleration, while Sport Sharp delivers the quickest response. You can almost think of each respective mode as go fast, and go really fast. Active torque vectoring is a new feature for 2015 that works in conjunction with the car's multi-mode VDS stability and traction control systems. It works by applying the brake to the inside front wheel to reduce understeer and neutralize the STI's handling characteristics. Out of the 3 available VDS or vehicle dynamics control settings, torque vectoring is only available in normal and traction. As expected, normal has the highest level of electronic innervation, while traction reduces the limits and disengages engine torque reduction. Selecting off disengages everything, making the driver fully in control of the car's behavior. The STI features an exclusive driver-controlled center differential, or DCCD, a unique version of Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive. It uses planetary-type center differential gears that normally split the torque between 41% in front and 59% in the rear. A mechanical limited slip type center differential assists the electronic controlled center differential to assist with the torque transfer. Torque is then transferred side to side thanks to a helical type limited slip front differential and a torsion torque sensing limited slip rear differential, all working to reduce slippage on the inside wheels during cornering. The percentage of transfer is always adjusting based on sensor inputs from the steering angle, throttle position, RPMs, lateral Gs, yaw, brake, ABS, and wheel speed. The DCCD has 3 automatic modes: Auto, Auto Minus, and Auto Plus, each applying a different degree of center differential locking to match various driving conditions. Standard Auto is for normal driving, in which the car varies torque distribution based on acceleration, deceleration, steering angle, cornering force, and wheel slippage. Auto Minus makes less use of the center limited slip diff, so less locking factor, and holds the torque bias more to the rear. For driving on slippery or low traction scenarios such as gravel, snow, or sand, Auto Plus tightens up the limited slip diff to send more of a proportion of torque to the front. Putting the DCCD in manual mode allows you to select one of 6 center differential locking factors up to an even 50-50 split to adjust it however you prefer given the situation. The STI comes standard with 18 by 8.5 inch dark gray web spoke alloy wheels. They're wrapped in 245/40 summer performance tires, able to hold a little under 1 G of lateral acceleration. Bringing the car to a stop at about 108 feet from 60 miles an hour is a high-performance Brembo braking system, consisting of 4-wheel internally ventilated discs that measure 13 inches in front and 12.4 inches in the rear. They're clamped by 4-piston and dual-piston fixed calipers respectively. The STI's Super Sport ABS system provides added control by independently adjusting the braking forces of each rear wheel, optimizing braking ability during hard corners for reduced understeer. Underneath, a fully independent STI-tuned suspension combines an inverted strut front suspension with forged alloy lower L-arms and a 24mm stabilizer bar. The rear features a double wishbone setup and a 22mm stabilizer bar. In addition to thicker outer front struts, the stabilizer bars are also thicker for 2015. Subaru claims the springs were stiffened by 22% in front and 6% in the rear, along with stiffer dampers, cross members, subframe bushings, front control arm bushings, and more. In some cases, the components are lighter than the previous model, with an end goal of creating a much better handling package that carries less unsprung weight. Torsional rigidity is up by 40%, with increases in lateral stiffness by 14% in front and 38% in the rear. Roll stiffness is up by 24%. The only downside with this is overall ride quality, which, as you may expect, is very firm and might be polarizing to some who may not track their car or explore the very limits of the STI's handling prowess. If this is your cup of tea, though, the STI will reward you over and over again. It wasn't punishing by any means on my drive, but then again, I was primarily on smooth roads. I think more extensive testing would be needed to really evaluate it as a daily driver. Overall length is 180.9 inches with a width of 70.7 inches and a height of 58.1 inches, riding on a 104.3 inch wheelbase. Total curb weight, as you see here, is around 3,386 pounds. The STI is powered by an all-aluminum, turbocharged and intercooled horizontally opposed 4-cylinder. Otherwise known as a boxer engine, it displaces 2.5 liters and features integral cast-iron cylinder liners, 5 main bearings, high-strength cast pistons, a nitride-hardened crankshaft, and a semi-closed deck cylinder design. The latter combines the cooling efficiency of an open deck with the strength of a closed deck alongside other special reinforcements. The inherent design for the engine and all-wheel drive system also helps lower the STI's center of gravity. Solid rubber engine mounts are used to help minimize engine movement for enhanced agility. This example actually features an upgraded Blausch turbo, injectors, intercooler, parent turbo inlet hose, and a Cobb access port. Everything else, including the exhaust, is stock. Its valve train is made up of double overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, along with variable intake and exhaust valve timing. Compression ratio is rated at 8.2 to 1 with a red line of 6,700 RPM. Power has remained pretty consistent over the last decade and continues to do so for 2015, where the STI develops in its stock form 305 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 290 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM, while under 14.7 psi of boost. That's 37 horsepower and 32 pound-feet of torque over the new 2-liter turbo engine in the WRX. This translates to a 0 to 60 time of about 5 seconds and a top speed of 159 miles an hour. The engine's signature growl sounds excellent through a set of quad-polished pipes out back. The sound is even piped into the interior more for 2015, which is entertaining to say the least. This one obviously is a little bit louder in stock, largely thanks to the whooshing sound of the turbo. In looking at economy, the STI requires a minimum of 91 octane and carries a 15.9 gallon fuel tank. EPA estimates range between 17 miles to a gallon in the city and 23 on the highway, averaging in the neighborhood of 19 miles to a gallon. As you probably saw earlier in the video, the dealership actually had one of the previous generation STIs in stock, so we can compare and contrast. The thing that impressed me the most about the 2015 model was how much of a nicer interior it had. I mean, look at this. When you compare the previous generation, there really isn't much in terms of premium appointments and soft touch padding. But with 2015, there's soft touch plastics all over the upper portions of the door panels, the dash, and the center console. You have the faux suede trim with accent stitching across the doors. It just looks a whole lot nicer, it feels nicer, it's just a nicer overall environment. Some of the electronics, like the infotainment system and stuff, still feels a little outdated, but that kind of stuff is easily overlooked when you think of this car's intended mission. These are the standard seating options for the STI, and I love the combination of the red and black leather with the faux suede and rib portions across the middle. They're extremely comfortable, very supportive with good lateral bolstering up top and down below, and adjustable headrests and seatbelts. You have aluminum door sill entry guards, aluminum pedals, and logoed floor mats, a full manual tilting telescoping steering wheel, faux carbon fiber trim, and a driver's side knee airbag. On upper trim levels, full leather upholstery is available with powered seats.
So let's go ahead and see if she sounds. go ahead and shut her up.
The STI comes standard with an AM/FM radio with in-CD player along with standard satellite radio and HD radio, not to mention iPod and USB connectivity and hands-free Bluetooth telephone. A navigation system is optional, as is a higher-end Harman Kardon audio system in upper trim levels. In the very top you have two digital displays, one to the left for your climate control and off to the right you have your boost pressure and a bunch of other auxiliary gauges. Using that little toggle switch you can go between like fuel data, accelerator percentage, various vehicle status functions, audio, multimedia data, customizable options, and more, not to mention a digitalized analog clock, average fuel economy, and outside temperature. Up top you have grip handles, padded visors with a vanity mirror, not to mention an auto-dimming rearview mirror with compass off to the far right and 3-position garage home link. Up top you have your hands-free Bluetooth microphone and 2 reading lamps. Continuing down, there's a dual-zone electronic automatic climate control system with your temperature off to either side, front and rear defrost, one-touch automatic, different zones, and fan speed. Here's a storage cubby with a 12-volt power outlet, 2 cup holders, your 2-stage heated seats for both the driver and passenger, not to mention an adjustable armrest. If you push this button, you can extend it out forward for a little bit better comfort, or just open it to reveal the storage cubby beneath. It also houses another 12-volt power outlet and your media inputs, USB and auxiliary. As far as the steering wheel, on the right-hand side you have your cruise control, the left-hand side radio controls, hands-free telephone and voice commands. In the very bottom you have the controls for the driver information system that correspond to that little digital display in between the instrument clusters. Intermittent wipers to the right, and your lighting, turn signals, and high beams to the left. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and shut her down. And we'll check out the back seat. Alright, back seat of the Impreza sedan. I apologize how I must look. It is ridiculously hot out here today. Really, the overall environment back here, I can definitely tell that there's more room, especially from the earlier Imprezas. It's also a lot more of a refined and comfortable feeling environment. Not only just because of the space, but there's a lot of padding in this back seat. I like how the two-tone color scheme carries on back here in the combination leather and Alcantara suede. There's a lot of padding in the lower cushion, good lower back support. I mean, it sits rather decent. There's not a lot of lateral support across the side, but that's okay. One thing I do wish that it had, though, was a fold-down armrest right here. I feel like my arm is just a little bit lacking right here and make it a little bit more comfortable on longer trips. You can sit 3 people back here. There's a little bit of a drivetrain hump right here, so depending on the size of all 3 passengers, it might be a little bit tight for the middle person. You do have an extra headrest in the middle right here. Again, probably best suited for shorter individuals or maybe even children. There are child seat anchors back there, side curtain airbags all the way around, grip handles up top with coat hooks, and as far as overall interior space, I'm 5'10" with a comfortable seating position for myself up front. I have about 3 inches or so of leg space and maybe an inch and a half of head space. Down below, there's 2 cup holders that flip out there, a storage pocket on the back of that seat, and that's about it. Like I said earlier, it's not really that much of a luxurious interior. There's some harder plastic materials and stuff thrown in here and there, namely the bottom 3/4 of the door panels, center console, things like that. But just like the front, you do have the soft touch material across the middle portion with the Alcantara and the soft touch plastic on top. Definitely a big step in the right direction to improve the overall interior comfort for backseat passengers. So let's go and check out the rest of the vehicle. Out back, there's 12 cubic feet of cargo space, up from 11.3. If more space is desired, you can fold down the 60-40 split rear seat and load up cargo all the way to the front.
The passenger seat is also manually adjusting, only it doesn't have the extra height support like you find in the driver's seat. It's also heated. Down below you do have a locking glove box. It's also damped, so it opens up nice and slowly. It has a pretty good amount of space.
With the outdated and soon-to-be phased-out Lancer Evolution, the WRX STI for the price is almost in a class to its own. While the WRX might as well be more than enough for some, I firmly believe the STI is better now than ever before, not only in terms of handling and engagement, but quality and passenger comfort.
Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the 2015 Subaru WRX STI. Be sure to stay tuned next time. There's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.